Lost Warrior says, how long will it take for Marvel to recover its brand integrity? Can it? Well, this kind of gets us into our next topic, doesn't it, Andre?
It does indeed, very nicely.
So why don't we start there?
Yeah. And we shall return to your main question about returning to the brand integrity. Well, actually, no, let's do it right away.
Yeah.
Uh, we are about to explore some of the damage to Marvel's brand. But
Mm.
first, recover its brand integrity. Let's just assume, let's be generous and assume that Marvel is going to take the opportunity of this strike to trash everything that is not written yet and start over and try to make things good again. Can they? And how long will it take, Mr. Chato?
For them to recover?
Yeah, to get back to what they were.
Wow. Jeez. You know what? I can't even I think there's a malaise in the entire business already. It's just not a Marvel thing. I mentioned that if Gunn's biggest challenge over at DC is not just raising the ships at DC, is to raising Marvel's ships too. Now I'm not even talking about his work with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It doesn't help him if Disney keeps failing. Like it's the whole genre. It's almost as if he's responsible for getting everything back on track. That's a huge responsibility. That's a lot of weight on his shoulders. So
he is Atlas at this point. Yeah.
Pardon me, what?
He is Atlas at this point.
Yes. He's Atlas. The problem is I don't see anybody at Marvel who is going to dig them out of their malaise. So until I see an individual, I can't make a call. They need a gun, so an equivalent, and then I'll make a prediction.
Yeah, Script. What say you?
I'm with Paul. They need someone who's got enough talent to generate interest again. One of the things you have to be prepared for is that audiences recognize patterns. Marvel, they did have a strong opening with Iron Man, but it didn't start to pick up and become that $1 billion thing until the Avengers hit. That was technically like the fifth movie, but like the third one of when people started realizing that these Marvel movies were being a thing because they did Iron Man, then Iron Man 2, Captain America, Thor, Avengers. So I would say, given the history of Marvel and the level of the brand that it is at currently, I think it would take 3 movies that are of good quality and strong word of mouth before their brand would have enough trust to start bringing back those $1 billion box offices. Something like Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely in the right direction, but again, it's more like a last gasp of air before the corpse goes back into a coma. At this point, there's no one left at the studio that we are aware of that could be the flagship captain of this brand to get it back on track. And yes, Disney does have a very good opportunity right now to sort of toss out all the garbage and sort of filter the way and try and find new talent. However, my understanding from some of the people that have been negotiating with Disney and the other studios is that Disney's the big holdout out of all of them. Which means that they're probably going to be the last ones to even consider that they've been going in the bad direction and willing to change their strategy out of all the other studios.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably true. So the assumption that I went from or laid out in the beginning there that they're going to start right now to change things. That's probably optimistic, but when they do, as you said, Script, it took 5 movies for the MCU to become a massive worldwide hit because of this pattern recognition. Like none of the MCU Phase 1 movies really blew up until the Avengers, which was a hit unlike anything anyone had seen since Avatar, and it sucked the air out of every other release the rest of that summer. It was completely unparalleled what happened there. Whereas then to deflate it again, that took all of phase 4 combined. So that was like 3 years and who knows how many movies and Disney Plus series. But I think it's going to take about as many to fix it again. You're going to need like 4, 5 Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, Iron Man Part 1, Avengers Part 1 hits in a row to get the audiences back and fully on board again. For that to happen, they need to find the next James Gunn, because they're not going to get this James Gunn. So they need to find someone else out there who can do what James Gunn did. That kind of talent is out there, and it's hard to find, and it's their only freaking hope.
So
Well,
here's the challenge for Disney, that has never been its modus operandi. Even though I mentioned that, I only mention it with regards to the fact that they've had several purchases over the years, like Pixar that came with an auteur. You had Marvel that ostensibly came with Feige, and you had Star Wars that had the ghost of George Lucas. That's not how Disney ever worked. I don't think they were ever comfortable with having these external auteurs involved, because every single movie has been a group team effort. I mean, maybe if you're deep into Disney lore, you know who the head animator was for the Sword and the Sorcerer or something like that. But for all intents and purposes, it was Walt Disney. And that's always how it's been a corporate entity. That this has been its downfall, is bringing in these properties that were managed by auteurs. They had no idea what to do with them, and they don't like them. So I don't know. And now they've returned everything to kind of this Disney mush. Who within Disney is going to be able to resurrect any of these properties? That it completely goes against their corporate culture.
Well, I was going to say they have one opportunity right now. Like, this is like their one plan B option they can take out of this, or at least take advantage of, I guess is a better way of putting it. And that is that they're in the middle of the strike right now. This is going to delay things a little bit, as we've seen pretty much all the upcoming Marvel things that weren't already pretty much in the can or in the midst of shooting that I know of. And I don't even know what's shooting anymore. I think everything's kind of on a halt at this point.
Nothing is shooting right now.
That's what I had heard. Yeah, pretty much everything is kind of at a dead screeching halt. Here's where you take advantage of that. You completely revamp everything. You're going to have roughly close to a year where, outside of a couple of TV shows, because after the Marvels, what do they got left for movies? Nothing is done that I can think of or know of. The only thing that's done is a couple of TV shows. The WandaVision spinoff with what's her face.
The Agatha thing.
Yeah, Loki season 2. And I'm not sure if anything else is done shooting.
The Visionaries, or that animated thing.
That's Star Wars Visions, but that's
I just smush it all together with Disney. I don't
yeah, you're not wrong.
I hear what you're saying there, but yeah, no, like at this point though, here's where you take
maybe, but I think they stopped production on that. Same with Daredevil and slew of other shows.
Yeah, Daredevil shut down.
Secret Invasion might have been finished.
That might have been. Yeah, because we have a trailer for that, so that's done. Secret Invasion, yeah. So outside of those projects, and I brought this up last night when somebody asked about Superman Legacy, I said the beauty for James going into this, on his end, on DC side, they'll have almost a full year and a half or so of like dead space where there hasn't been any superhero movies. So he'll have that to kind of jump off of. There's a couple properties that'll drop on HBO Max, but other than that, if you don't count the Joker and the Batman 2, since they're technically also Rands or whatever you want to call them, really he's got a gap there that'll help him between Aquaman and that. Now, in the same thing, now Disney's finding themselves in a similar position with Marvel because of the writer's strike, especially if they end up with any other strikes on top of it. That's going to delay stuff even more. So I'd take advantage of this time that you have this space, revamp everything. Feige has the right idea if he's actually understanding the problems with getting veterans involved with this. You need some people who actually kind of understand these properties. if that's the case, and you're right, Andre, he needs a new James Gunn. Will he find one? I don't know. And I'm not saying James Gunn is the end all be all and he's going to be perfect, because he could fuck up DC for all we know. But
the problem is that
yeah.
it was a team. Sorry, I did not mean to intercut. But
no,
it was,
you're right. Go ahead.
It was a team that made Marvel successful in the first place. You had
That's
Jon
what I was going to get to. Yeah,
who kind of like delivered the pilot in the guise of Iron Man. You had, most importantly, I think this is something that many don't give him credit for, is that you had Ike Perlmutter there, reining everyone in, keeping them in check over the course of the entire Phase 1 and midway through Phase 2. Now, I'm not saying that he was a creative genius, but creative people need to be reined in. They need a naysayer. Look at Star Wars, the prequel trilogy. George Lucas had no naysayers, whereas on the original trilogy, he was surrounded by a bunch of Ike Perlmutters that kept him in check. So you needed an Ike Perlmutter. Perlmutter is not there anymore. Favreau is not there anymore. There's two very important pieces of the puzzle gone right there that were instrumental in that early success. Now, many others came later, but they were built upon that foundation. Now that foundation has been torn down. In order to rebuild it again, you're going to need another Perlmutter and another Favreau and another James Gunn and another Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige today is not the same Kevin Feige as a decade ago or 15 years ago, which was when he started here. He's no longer the same man.
You're not wrong.
He lived long enough to see himself become the villain. They
But
don't
he is
have
at
anyone
least
left.
But he is at least admitting that there's problems. And the one thing they do have is one ace in their pocket: Spider-Man. They've been able to rebuild Spider-Man up to the point where it's, you know, $1 billion franchise again. And after Spider-Man No Way Home, this next Spider-Man movie is the only shot they got. Unfortunately, it's a Sony co-production or whatever you want to call it, to where Disney's not going to keep that money. But Marvel, it might be able to give them somewhere a launch pad to come off of, because they got X-Men and they got Fantastic Four to work with yet. But if they screw those up, it's done.
Well, the rumor is Adam Driver's Mr. Fantastic, so that's already bad call.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
already talked me out of that being possibly decent casting, but yeah.
Yeah,
Not that he's a bad actor, it's just that you kind of want your lead actor to be a little handsome, not looking like the child of the Yub Nub guy in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, like my issue is that I don't trust anything that they have written up until this point. Maybe after the writer's strike, maybe after Victoria Alonso is gone, but anything that has been written while Victoria Alonso was in the building, I don't trust it. Not one single thing do I trust has any shot in hell at being good, which is why I'm saddened that Daredevil hasn't been shut down completely and that they're starting over with it, which I really wish that they should. Like, yeah, they shut it down, but just for a couple of days. That's probably going to continue with its current scripts written by people that aren't qualified to write it by all indications. So yeah, I don't trust anything that they have been working on that's in development. I'll give them a chance for everything that they start in 3 months from now, 4 months, whenever the strike is finished, but not anything that has been in development these last few weeks and months. Not a single thing.
Yeah, Adam Driver was a weird choice.
And unfortunately, I do believe that a weird choice like that is indicative of everything they are doing until the opposite has been proven.
I mean, you cast him as the Thing. I could buy that, you know. Maybe Mole Man.
The Silver Surfer.
Sure, Silver Surfer. Yeah, just replace him with
He might have made an
animated
interesting
body.
Doctor Doom, but
Yeah, put his face behind a
Yeah.
mask, please.
I think he's a really good actor.
He is a really good actor. He made me believe that he actually felt liked Lena Dunham in The Girls.
The only problem with him as Doctor Doom is that his face is not going to fit behind the mask.
Oh, hey, he was Darth. What's his face? So yeah,
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ben.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, I mean the weird. The other thing that when I heard that casting, the first thing that came to my mind was, you've clearly been abused in these Star Wars movies. They completely screwed up your character. You didn't know whether you were going frontwards or backwards. You didn't know whether you were evil or good, against Rey, for Rey, in love with Rey. And I just went, wow, this is a paycheck. I mean, as an actor, I would have hated what they did to me in those 3 movies. I wouldn't want to come back.
He don't watch them.
Pardon me, what?
He don't care. He don't watch what he's in. He's one of those guys.
No.
I guess 65 didn't make as much money as he was hoping. So now,
maybe that's it. And this was the paycheck that he wanted.
Why, he would have got paid for 65 3 years ago when they shot it.
And he would have been paid enough for the first 3 Star Wars movies to be able to retire anyway.
That's what I'm saying. From what I gather from him, he's one of those guys that he doesn't really care about, like. Yeah, he likes being in the moment of the acting, and then after that, he doesn't give a shit.
You know what?
Yeah.
He acts. He does his job. He's like the Nicolas Cage, the new Nicolas Cage.
Or I was going to compare him a little bit more to Harrison Ford, but yeah.
Yeah, he's just, give me a job, and I'll do the best I possibly can.
Which is weird because he played his son, but like, yeah.
I killed you, Dad.
Hollywood has had a bad luck casting sons for Harrison Ford's most iconic roles.
Yeah, that has not worked out. That really has not worked out.
Yeah.
No, but Goddaughters, that's working out.
Oh yeah. Well, let's just wait and see about that.
That's not how the Force works.
Wrong movie, Harrison.
Back for his
It works every time.
That's the too old Harrison Ford.
Well, what do you think I am?
But that's pretty good. That's a pretty good later year Harrison Ford. Good work, Tom.
Get off my panel.
I'm gone.
That was the only good part about. I was like one of the only people that did not like Air Force One. I'm like, this is a crappy movie. It's got one good line, and it's in the trailer. Get off my plane.
You went to it to be entertained.
I did. I went on a date, actually. That was the best part about it, probably, I guess.
Wasn't that a produced by the same guy who did Pirates of the Caribbean? Isn't that
I don't know if that was a Bruckheimer production.
It felt like a Bruckheimer film.
It felt like one, but see, that was the thing. That was at the tail end of a Die Hard on a about that point, because that was 96, 97, somewhere in there when that came out.
Thereabouts.
So that was a tail end of that.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.